Hi, it's Brad, and I wanted to jump on here to describe one of the reasons I believe in Jesus, and that is the resurrection of Jesus. You owe it to yourself to look into this. This is something that changed the course of mankind, the history of mankind forever. Honestly, if there's one thing that you can do if you don't believe this, is to at least look at the evidence, look at the facts. Dr. Gary Habernas compiled over 3,400 books, publications, articles from authors and skeptics alike of the resurrection. And of those 3,400 works, a majority of them believed in the following, at least four facts, probably more like 10 or 12. But the four facts that, you really can narrow it down to are: Jesus died by crucifixion, the tomb was empty, his disciples believed that he rose and appeared to them, and skeptics, of the day, Paul and James, the brother of Jesus, they were convinced, and they changed drastically in their lifetime to become incredible proponents of the resurrection of Jesus. So what are the evidences that he actually resurrected? Number one, he did die on a cross. Pilate was assured by the Roman soldiers that he died on the cross. The Romans were experts at killing people. They were experts at knowing when people died, and they had a process. So they came and told Pilate, yes, he's dead, and they went back and they double checked, and then they even thrust a spear into his side, and the spear went up through his lung into his heart, burst, and a bunch of clear fluid came out and a bunch of blood came out. And that indicates that he's dead. I mean, medical experts talk about this. There's a whole condition around this that they talk about. So he absolutely died. Second, there was an empty tomb. So, it was guarded by Roman soldiers. They came and they put a stone in front of it. And not only that, but they sealed the stone. These soldiers, it's known that they would have been beaten or killed if they had fallen asleep on the job or didn't do a good job. So they were highly motivated to do a good job. They themselves said that the tomb was empty. So after the fact, when it came to light that the body wasn't there, they went to the Jewish leaders and they told them, oh my goodness, this is what happened. And they had this crazy story about angels and all this stuff. But they came up with a lie, and they decided that the best way was to try and pin it on the disciples. And so they gave them some money to be quiet. And then beyond that, they even said that the disciples came and stole the body while they were sleeping. Well, if they were sleeping, then how would they have known that it was the disciples who came to steal the body? So the tomb was empty. Even the soldiers themselves said that the tomb was empty. Okay, so that's fact number two. Number three, Jesus appeared to a bunch of people, 10 or 12 different times. He appeared to the disciples. He appeared to Mary. He appeared to the women. He appeared to Thomas. He appeared to 500 other people all at the same time. In fact, in Corinthians, Paul writes to them saying, look, he appeared to 500 people, many of whom are still alive today. So he was appealing to the fact that, hey, you can go and check it out for yourself. If you don't believe, just go talk to the 500 people who Jesus appeared to after he died and rose again. So very compelling evidence that would have been shot down completely in the day that the book of Corinthians was written, had it not been true. So the eyewitness is an incredibly compelling to the case that Jesus actually rose from the dead. All right. Finally, the change in the apostles. So all the apostles became incredibly bold preachers after Jesus appeared to them. They were in no state of mind to become incredibly bold preachers after their leader had just died. They were deflated. They were afraid. It said they fled, right? They were scared out of their minds. They were in no state to suddenly become bold and willing to endure persecution, be thrown in jail, be flogged, even to the point of death. I mean, church tradition says that most, if not all, except for John, of the apostles were killed for their faith. This is a huge deal for the resurrection of Christ. Liars, people who come and steal bodies and then, bring it back and kind of manipulate the story. Liars don't make good martyrs. They just don't make good martyrs, because at the end of the day, it's your life. In fact, it's your eternal salvation at stake. These people would not have gone to their death holding a lie that they knew was for their eternal salvation. They should have followed the law of the Jews otherwise. But no, they believed it so much they were willing to stake not only their life, but their eternal salvation on this fact. It's a huge deal. All right, so the very existence of the church today is evidence that there was something massive that happened. So if I say nothing else that matters today, go look into this, because it changed the course of the entire human race, right? Jesus' resurrection, or lack thereof, or whatever the case may be, changed everything. So it really behooves you to go out and figure this out for yourself. So do it. Habernas is a great start. Read some of his books. Case for Christ is a good one by Lee Strobel. There are many, many resources out there. You just, Google, for instance, is not a bad one. At least it's something. All right, well, when Paul and James changed their view 180 degrees, they went from being killers of the Christians to preachers of Christianity. James was the brother of Jesus. He thought Jesus was crazy at first, until Jesus appeared to him after he rose from the dead. And then he became a church leader. All right, that's all I got for now. Maybe the next time we'll talk about what the alternatives would be. I mean, at the end of the day, you gotta come up with something that you believe. I mean, something happened. Honestly, the best explanation is that Jesus actually rose from the dead, based on the facts that we have, that everybody seems to agree to. So, again, why Jesus? Well, the resurrection of Jesus. Thanks for listening, and hope you have a great Easter.